The arena on planet Velthra was filled with light and noise. Thousands of alien soldiers stood around watching the match that no one believed would happen. They had come to see their proud general, Sira of the Velthron Legion, face a human in combat. Most of them thought it would be over in a few minutes. They laughed and placed their bets, sure that their warrior would win without a single scratch. Sira stood tall and silent at the center of the arena. Her violet armor glowed under the twin suns. She was strong, graceful, and trained from childhood in the arts of war. Her people called her the Silver Fang, the best fighter in the Legion. Her eyes were sharp and cold as she watched her opponent enter the ring. The human walked slowly, wearing armor that looked old and scratched. His name was Kyle. His steps were calm, his eyes steady. There was no fear in his face, only quiet focus. The Velthrons whispered among themselves, mocking his simple armor and short height compared to their tall general. But Sira felt something strange. His eyes met hers, and she saw no weakness there. The announcer's voice echoed. The duel begins. No mercy, no interference. First one to yield or fall. Kale gave a small nod. Sira raised her spear and spun it once, the metal shining with blue fire. The sound of the gong filled the air. Sira moved first. She charged with impossible speed, her spear cutting the air like lightning. The crowd gasped as the weapon came down. But Kale moved aside, his body turning just enough for the strike to miss. The spear brushed past his shoulder, and he countered with a quick punch to her side. The hit was light but precise. It made her armor ring. Sira stepped back surprised. No one had ever dodged her first attack before. She narrowed her eyes and circled him, her tail flicking behind her armor. Kale kept his stance low, his breathing even. She attacked again, this time faster, switching angles and direction. The human blocked with his forearms, ducked under, and pushed her arm away. His moves were simple, not fancy, but effective. He didn't fight like a showman. He fought like someone who had survived real battles. The crowd grew quiet. Sira growled and pressed harder. Her spear came again and again, a blur of light and motion. Sparks flew as Kale's gauntlet met the weapon. He was slower, but every step he took had purpose. He used the ground, the weight of his own body, and his timing to stay just out of reach. Then he saw his opening. As Sira lunged forward, he twisted his body, grabbed her spear shaft, and pulled her close. His knee struck her armor at the joint, making her stumble. She landed on one knee, shocked that a human had forced her down. Kyle didn't strike again. He stepped back and let her stand. "You can still fight," he said in a calm voice. The words made something shift inside her. No mockery, no pride, just quiet respect. She rose, her breathing heavy. "You will regret holding back," she said coldly. Kyle smiled faintly. "Maybe, but I don't fight to hurt. I fight to prove a point." Her anger flared. She rushed at him faster than before. The air cracked with energy. She swung her spear down with full force, but Kale rolled aside. Sand exploded under her weapon. He came up beside her, his fist slamming into the side of her armor. She spun, trying to strike again, but he caught her wrist and turned her momentum against her. She fell backward, landing hard on the sand. The crowd gasped. Their champion was on the ground. Kyle walked toward her slowly, breathing deeply but steady. He placed his boot on the end of her spear to keep it pinned. He didn't aim his weapon or raise a fist. "Yield," he said simply. Sira looked up at him. No one had ever defeated her like this. Her pride told her to fight on, but her heart told her something else. This human could have killed her many times during the match, yet he hadn't. She felt shame and respect mixing inside her chest in a way she couldn't understand. "Why didn't you finish it?" she asked, her voice quieter now. Kale looked around the arena, then back at her. "Because that's not what strength is for." His words were strange to her, but they carried weight. Slowly, she let go of her weapon. The signal of surrender echoed through the field. The crowd was silent at first, then filled with shouts of disbelief. The announcer hesitated before speaking. "Victory." To the human. Kale stepped back and offered his hand to help her up. She stared at it for a moment, then took it. The gesture felt heavier than any fight she had won. As they walked off the field, the crowd still murmured, their voices unsure. Sira could not take her eyes off him. He had changed something inside her, something deeper than pride or defeat. When Kale reached the gate, he turned once and looked back at her. "It's not about power," he said softly. "It's about what you do with it." She stood still as his words sank in. The warrior who had never lost now realized that she had learned something greater than victory. For the first time in her life, she wanted to understand the heart of a human. Days passed after the duel, but the memory refused to leave Sira's mind. The sound of the human's calm voice still echoed inside her. It's not about power. It's about what you do with it. Those words were strange to her people. The Velthrans were born to fight. Strength was their pride, victory their purpose. Yet when Kale defeated her, he did not humiliate her. He didn't even celebrate. He had looked at her with quiet respect, and that confused her more than the loss itself. In the barracks, whispers followed her everywhere. Soldiers lowered their eyes as she passed. Some pitied her. Some mocked her under their breath. Others looked frightened, as if the defeat of their strongest warrior meant something larger. Sira ignored them, but inside she felt restless. The honor she had built over years now felt hollow. One evening, she went to the training hall. The lights were dim and the air smelled of metal and oil. She stood in the center, her spear resting on the floor. With a sudden cry, she spun and struck at a holographic target. The image shattered, but it brought her no peace. Again and again she attacked until the room echoed with the sound of her own frustration. Still fighting the same way? The voice came from behind her. She froze. It was Kale. He stood at the doorway, his armor replaced by a simple flight suit. His tone was calm, but his eyes watched her with quiet understanding. You shouldn't be here, she said coldly. This is Velthran ground. He shrugged slightly. They allowed me in. The High Council asked me to train your troops. I guess they finally realized humans might have something to teach. She turned, her expression tight. Teach? You defeated me through luck. Kale smiled faintly. Maybe. Or maybe you still think power only comes from muscle. Her eyes narrowed. Then show me. Kyle nodded once. Fine, no armor. No weapons. They stepped into the center of the hall. He faced her with empty hands, his stance low. Sira attacked first, fast and sharp. Her strikes came from every angle. Yet he moved like water, slipping aside, redirecting her attacks instead of blocking them. She grew angrier with each miss. Stop dodging, she shouted. He caught her wrist mid-swing and used her own force to pull her off balance. She landed on her knees, breathless. He let go immediately and stepped back. You fight to destroy, he said softly. But I fight to survive. She looked up at him, confused. Survive? He nodded. Humans come from a world that kills us every day. Storms, predators, hunger, war. We learn not to win, but to endure. That's the difference. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she rose, eyes softer now. You make it sound as if your weakness is your strength. He gave a small smile. Maybe it is. Their eyes met in silence. For the first time, she didn't see him as a lesser being. She saw someone who had learned to fight without pride. Someone who had mastered pain and turned it into patience. Over the next weeks, Kale trained the Veltran soldiers. His methods were strange. He taught them not to rely on armor or speed, but on awareness and balance. He made them fight blindfolded, listen instead of look, and think instead of react. At first, the soldiers mocked him, but soon they began to see results. They moved better, anticipated faster, and fought longer without exhaustion. Even Sira started to learn quietly at the edge of the training ground, pretending she was only watching. One day, the alarm sirens broke the calm. A fleet from the rival Car Dominion had entered Velthran space. They demanded surrender or battle. The High Council called for immediate defense, and Sira was assigned to lead the ground forces. Kale was asked to advise her. When the two met in the war chamber, the tension was thick. Maps floated in the air, showing enemy ships descending fast. Sira looked at him. You think your human methods will save us? Kale studied the map, his eyes serious. No, but your pride will destroy you if you don't listen. Her jaw tightened. Then tell me what you would do. He pointed to a narrow canyon on the display. Here, draw them in close. Your troops are used to open battles. That's why they lose to faster enemies. Humans learn to fight where we can't run. His plan was risky, but it made sense. The council agreed, and within hours the soldiers were in position. When the battle began, the Car warriors landed with loud roars, confident of their strength. But the Velthrans, guided by Kyle's tactics, stayed silent and hidden among the rocks. When the enemy advanced into the canyon, Kale gave the signal. Explosions shook the ground as traps triggered. Sira led the charge from above, her spear cutting through smoke and light. Kale fought beside her, using his small rifle and sheer instinct. They moved as one, alien precision and human adaptability. The battle ended faster than anyone expected. The Car forces retreated, leaving behind wreckage and smoke. The Velthrons cheered, their voices echoing through the valley. Sira looked at Kyle, her armor scorched and cracked. "You fought beside us," she said quietly. He smiled tiredly. "I told you. We survive." For a long time she just stared at him. Somewhere between respect and something deeper, her heart shifted. The human who had once been her rival now stood as her equal, and the thought both frightened and amazed her. That night, as the fires of victory burned across the camp, Sira sat alone watching the stars. She remembered her first defeat and realized it had not been shame. It had been the start of something new.